Hello and welcome to another Tech Articles. In today's article, we're going to look at Fluent Boards and specifically the ability to email in your items for your board. This is possible. It's not currently possible natively, but thanks to FlowMattic and its IMAP integration, we can do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the workflow and the setup here. We'll test the workflow and then I'm going to rebuild that workflow, with maybe the exception of the date and time, because it's all going to be very specific to you as a user. But we'll see how we get on. So first of all, let's go to Fluent Boards and show you what I've set up. I have done a bit of setting up already of Fluent Boards. So I have board 1 and board 2. For the intents and purposes of this video, board 1 is set up. Board 2 is what we're going to build later. But I thought it was easier to have the boards done at the same time. And we are then good to go in terms of adding it and building it in FlowMattic. So in board 1, as in board 2, we have 3 boards in this Kanban. And we can now have our tasks in here to work with. There's no tasks currently. And in FlowMattic, we have a workflow currently for board 1 that is very simple. It just pulls in our IMAP, adds 7 days to that time, and then fills in a load of details. Those details are based on the email received, the time out of this time formatter, and the settings that we want. So that's going to a board, where we want it to go. Task title I've taken as the email subject. The content would be the body HTML from the email. Then the due date is the date put out by this, which is basically today's date plus 7 days. I put them as a medium priority. I've assigned them to myself, and I've given them a label of email. And you can see that here. If I show you this, email is number 5. So that's how it all works. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write a new email that I'm going to send to, let me get this address up on my screen so that I know where I'm sending this to. And I'm going to put, this is a test submission. This is the rest of the task. Nice and simple. I'm just going to send that through. Now, there's a bit of a delay on sending this in because we need to wait for the cron to fire. Then we need to wait for the IMAP to be pulled, which is only on every sort of 2-3 minute check. And then once it's done that, it'll be pulled into FlowMattic. And it'll appear in this history. And once that happens, it will then appear in our Fluent forms, in our Fluent board, as a board item in here. So I'm just going to open up FlowMattic and history so we can see when it's run. Yeah. And this is board 1. And I'm going to pause this video recording while we wait for that to happen. And that has now run. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to board 1 and refresh this page. And you'll see here that we have actually an old email here from when I was testing this originally. And our new submission here, which is, this is the rest of the task. This is a test submission, and we are good to go. So it's been assigned to me. It's been given a medium priority. The date is set 7 days from now, which is everything we wanted in our task. And it's all been done and it involved from our email. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build this. And to do that, we're going to add a new account to FlowMattic. And then what we're going to do is rebuild the workflow from there to our Fluent boards. And for completeness, we're just going to use board 2 because there's nothing in here and there is nothing sitting and waiting. So first of all, we need to go to FlowMattic, down into settings, and we're going to add a new IMAP account. And we're going to push add IMAP account, and I'm going to pull up my details for this IMAP account. So we're going to call this board 2. I'm going to put the IMAP host in here. 993 is right, SSL is right. Interestingly, this is also called board 2. I'm going to copy and paste the password, and I'm going to test that connection. And that's successful. There's no messages in that email box, and I'm going to add that account like so. And that's it. Board 2 is now available and ready to roll. I'm going to go to workflows now, and we're going to build this workflow. And we're going to call this build 2. And we're going to change the trigger to an email. We're going to do email received is what I'm going to do in this case. In a real world use case, you might want to do it from a specific sender so that only your own end up in your boards and not spam that goes to that email account. But in this case, so that I can, in fact, I will set it up as a specific sender, which is different from how it's set up on board 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my demo email account here into this. I just need to copy what this email address is, and I'm going to grab that and put that into the sender's email, and then I'm going to select board 2 as my IMAP account. I'm going to put the frequency right down to 2 minutes. The reality is you probably want to leave this at around 10 minutes. Different providers have different requirements for how often you can poll their server. About 10 minutes is probably right. Nothing critical is going to be missed in 10 minutes, particularly in this setup. I'm going to set it to automatically mark processed emails as read. The reason I do that is because I then have an automation that scrubs email accounts for read emails on a, say, 60-day basis. So any emails that are older than 60 days, it will just scrub them out. But it only works on read emails. And that allows me to have fully autonomous email boxes without needing to worry about cleaning them up for this sort of ingestion. And then we're just going to do capture response. Now there'll be a blank response because nothing has happened, and I'm just going to do that one more time, and then you'll see here it's polling. We're going to head over here, so board 2, and there we go. We've got our response, and we can push continue and save. The next thing we want to do, based on our original setup, is add 7 days. And the reason I picked 7 days is it's probably the sort of time that you want for a task. You could have different email accounts for different dates, so 7 at your domain, 12 at your domain, 24 at your domain, etc. To allow them to know which board and what time to give them. There is lots of options available for this. You could also add in more complexity to your FlowMattic workflow and add additional items in your email body to pull out and check. But for our example here, we're just going to do a straight 7 days. So we want date and time formatter, but we want to take the FlowMattic variable and we want this one here, which is the current date and time in the 24-hour clock. Now it's plus 7 day and to and from format. So we're coming in from that. I think that matches the format that we have here, which is that one. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that and test. And obviously I've made a mistake somewhere. Oh, because I put 2 in. That's why. There we go. We get 7 days added, so that is correct. So we've now got our email in. We've got our subject and time. And next it's Fluent Boards. So I've already installed the integration for Fluent Boards. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go and create a task. I'm going to go to configure. I'm going to select a board. And in this case, we want board 2. The stage is where we want it to go into our board. I'm going to refresh those, make sure they're all up to date. And we are going to add open. Task title is going to be our subject. So from our email, we're going to select, you see here it says completed step. I haven't actually completed the email step, so I'm going to continue and save that. I'm going to go back up here, go to my capture, use selected response, continue, save and close. And if we go back to configure, we should now have our subject. We do. So this will be our title and our task description. I am going to add just the HTML body here into our task, and the due date I'm going to select as this here. So this is 2, and our output I'm going to leave it as low priority. Now in terms of assignees, I am user ID 1 in this, so I'm going to do that. And the first one should now say email, which it does. So label 9 will now be applied. Save and close. I'm not going to test that action. Usually you test this action. I'm not going to do that, because what's going to happen when we activate this is it will eventually ingest the test email that we sent as an execution on the next cron run. So what I'm going to do is delete these. And I'm just going to pause the video. And you'll see now that board 2 has run. And if we go to board 2 and refresh, we should now have a new task if we set everything up okay, which we did, and it is there. And the reason I didn't run it and test it is because we've had multiple of these in this board when we've done that. So it's the email subject which we sent. This is the body, which we sent via email. It has a label of email. It has 7 days on it. It is low priority, and it is assigned to me. So everything worked. It's totally ingested exactly as we wanted. I'm going to open this and delete it. And we're going to send one more email as a test. So again, back to board 2. We're going to send that, and subject to any bounce back by Google. That should now be sent over. And what will happen now is, behind the scenes, our check will happen in 2 minutes. Our cron will run, I think, about for every 3 minutes on the site. So sometime in the next 5 minutes, we will get a tag for this board, and we will get our second execution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, and we now have an empty task history. We've got an empty board 2, and our workflow is all running in the background here. Oh, and it looks like it might have actually already executed. So let's go back. That was some good exam timing. And here we go. Again, ingested, all set up, ready to go. And that's basically how you would ingest your emails into Fluent Boards using FlowMattic. And now the tasks are there, and you can operate them as you would any task. If you needed to add some information, comment to them, you can. It's all there, all ready to go. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel.